I miss you, dude.
Dude, Florida, Eli
tired,
is a
dude.
fucking dude. Oh, I was hoping that a Disney princess would just give you a 1-2, dude.
Confessions of a Film Poser!
Hey, I'm Eli.
And I'm Vince.
And we are... Film posers? Halloween time has many traditions. Trick-or-treating with friends, retired theater kids flinging sweat on you at the local haunted house attraction, convincing yourself that candy corn is good, only to confirm that it isn't. And of course, the never-ending glut of zombie movies. But before Romero, and before brains were on the menu, zombies looked very different. And that's where our story begins. The first feature-length zombie movie to hit cinemas is widely known to be White Zombie from 1932, starring Bela Lugosi and directed by Victor Halperin. The film introduced audiences to the idea of the zombie as a reanimated corpse under someone else's control, drawn from Haitian voodoo folklore rather than the flesh-eating undead we know today. In White Zombie, Lugosi plays a sinister plantation owner who uses magic and potions to control people. Holy crap, why didn't we add this one to our list? Cut to 1968 when George A. Romero redefined the zombie genre entirely with Night of the Living Dead. We'd go into summary of this one, but odds are you've seen it and you probably know it well. This is why Night of the Living Dead is the GOAT. Everything we associate with zombies today, from The Walking Dead to 28 Days Later, traces back to Romero. Which brings us to this week's subject on Confessions of a Film Poser. Night of the Creeps from 1986. Admittedly, a lesser-known zombie film and considered a flop upon release, Night of the Creeps has since achieved cult status thanks to home video and channels like HBO. Night of the Creeps is a blend of sci-fi horror and 80s teen comedy where alien brain slugs turn people into zombies, and a group of college students, plus one grizzled detective, have to stop the infestation before it takes over their town. Obviously, we haven't seen this one yet, but I'd venture to guess it's going to be a winner in our book. It also stars the Russ from European Vacation. That's not important, but I just like that movie and I think it's highly underrated. Now, as always, we'll pass it off to future us later in this episode, so make sure you stick around until the end to see our initial thoughts on this zombie classic. But for now, why haven't you seen this one, Vincent? You love zombies.
Yeah, it's usually like 20 minutes
Vincent.
and then we'll be out of here.
Vincent. They're coming to get you, Vincent.
You rang?
Dude, so I gotta be honest, knowing the zombie head that you are, you're the greatest defender of zombie movies that I know. What I am genuinely curious why you've never seen Night of the Creeps.
I am as well. While you were reading all of that, I was on IMDb looking at all of these zombie movies that somehow I'd never heard of.
Yeah.
Like I know, of course, like the Night of the Living Deads, a Return of the Living Deads. Huge fans of those. Evil Dead. In August. All the 28 days, 28 months, 28 years.
Yes.
Was it months or weeks?
It's 28 days, 28 weeks, and 28 years.
There it is. I was always wanting months. Huge fans of those. In August, I watched, before we even started this podcast, I started watching scary movies that I've never seen before, which was kind of a good intro into this show. But I also wasted a lot of great titles within that month that we could have done on here, which I feel bad because I saw some really cool shit, including Night of the Demons, which have you ever seen that?
No, I've never seen that. It would have been a great one for the... Yeah, I'm a little bitter. I'm still a little bitter about that.
I know you are.
And I love how you frame it as like, it was before we started this. It was during. It was during when we started throwing around this idea to do this, and we had a list of movies where it coming. One of the movies that was on the list that I put together, you watched, and then we're like, oh, I didn't know that was part of the thing. And I was like, you
mean Sleepaway Camp?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're bitter about it, dude, and that's fine.
I'm so bitter. We could have been sleeping away this whole camp the entire time.
You still need to watch it because that twist at the end.
Yeah, I know what the twist is. I know what the twist is at the end of that movie. Yeah, I heard it on a podcast a while ago, and it stayed with me. And I was hoping that we could share in that together, and you ruined it.
I ruined it, dude. I basked in that twist.
Yeah. Well, here's my controversial hot take of the night, and I know it's going to conflict with you and your views on zombie movies. I'm not the biggest zombie film / TV guy. There's like Night of the Living Dead is a classic. Love Night of the Living Dead. Love Return of the Living Dead Part 1 and Part 2. Never seen 3. 3, just the cover of it with that chick, that punk chick, just always turned me off. And I don't know why, because they're all like punk. Like,
That's number 1, isn't it?
No, the one number 3, dude, with the lady.
Oh, number
Yeah.
3 is like a sci-fi channel made for TV movie style. It sucks, dude.
It just never looked good. And to me, all zombie movies. Look, if you could find a new angle, Shaun of the Dead, great movie.
Great movie.
If you can find a new angle into a zombie movie, then I'll go for it and I'll enjoy it. And I like zombies in concept, but I just feel like at the heart of it, and I hope people see this and get offended by this, because I know there's people out there like you that are gonna be like, every zombie movie is great, but there's a lot of zombie movies that just bore me because it's the same thing. It's like they want brains, dude, and that's it.
Can we
explain the allure that you have of zombie? Like, what about zombie movies just get your goat, dude?
Okay, so if we can spend, since we're doing Night of the Creeps, let's do an homage, if you will, to zombie movies, and I'm gonna spit out some classics, and you tell me if you've seen it and if you hate it.
Okay.
I think this could be fun, and then we'll kind of break it down. Okay. Then we'll break down like what, because I would say that I'm a huge zombie fan, and to kind of answer your question really quick, my mom was a huge zombie fan, so I grew up watching zombie movies. So that's my main thing.
Okay, fair enough.
But there are some really good ones, dude. All right, here we go. The Crazies. I've never seen the original, but the remake was actually pretty darn good.
No, is that the one? Is with Josh? Is it? No, I always confuse
Delafonte or something.
Yeah, it's like Josh Duhamel. And what's the guy? Oh, the guy from Justified. I can't think of his name at the moment. What's his name?
Yeah, is that the guy I was thinking? Delafonte or something?
It's not Delafonte.
Timothy Oliphant?
Timothy Oliphant. Not a fan of that guy, dude.
I knew it was like Oliphante, Delafonte.
Delafonte sounds like a really cool Italian crooner from the
dude.
50s or 60s that mob guys love.
Dude.
Yeah, I'm not a big Timothy Oliphant guy. So I've started that one before. I own it somewhere. But I've never sat down and watched it.
It's a good one. Yeah, I'm trying to... Dawn of the Dead and the remake. Have you seen either of those?
I've seen Dawn of the Dead.
OG?
You talking about the remake, the Zack Snyder remake?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Both great. I love...
Both are great.
See, but here's the thing I love about the Zack Snyder one is that they're stuck in a mall. And that dude, that captures my imagination because I'm like, oh, man, being stuck in a mall and like that's your... Yeah, great movie.
Which the original one, they're stuck in the mall too. So it's the same concept. I feel like it was like early 2000s for the remake, and the music was good, and the ending is wild. Very good movie.
Yeah, good movie written by James Gunn. To me, when I think of Return of the Dead or not Return of the Dead, what's the
Return of the Living Dead?
Return of the Living Dead. Like that one, I always like the image of me is them being stuck in that house, dude.
Yeah. Which it is.
Right.
Well,
am I confusing the movies?
No, that's Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead. And you're talking about...
Night of the Living Dead is the one where they're stuck in the house. It's black and white. They remade it in the 80s, which like is a verbatim. Like they did the movie over again in color. Both are really good. Night of the Living Dead is the one where it's the grave robbers and something happens where there's like a chemical that they burn and then it goes into the air and then seeps into the graveyard and then the monsters come to life. And then they're stuck.
Yeah, that one's I love
really
that one.
good.
The one from the 80s. That I just bought that on 4K, and it's the military, right? The military, like
the military takes over.
Great
which
movie.
That series is the Return of the Living Deads are my favorite because it has. I wish I could pull it up right now. It has the two same guys are in 1 and 2. Playing the same exact characters, even though they die in the first one, and then they come back in the second one. It's the same characters, same situation. It just happens again. It's kind of like Evil Dead. And I feel like zombie movies, you can do that.
Not only do I like those movies, I watch those movies every year.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm actually wondering. I think I might put one on tonight.
Good call.
Okay.
What else you got for me?
We'll blow through these because I could do this all night long. The 28,
Give me 3 more.
The 28 series, all of them. Do you like any of them?
I love the first one. I thought the second one was honestly really good too. The last one lost me. I didn't care for the last one. I found it like more than anything. I just didn't find it entertaining. and some of the twists and stuff they put in there. And then I saw a preview that they're coming out with the new one that's like the skull. Forgot the name of it, but it's basically about Ralph Fiennes' character in that, and it's like
Yeah.
skull something. So I'll probably give that one. I don't know that I'll go to the theaters to watch that one, but I'll give that one a spin for sure. But I didn't care for the last one, and I
Okay.
just I don't know, just lost me.
Honorable mentions. We already got the Return of the Living Dead, all that stuff. Evil Deads, all three of them are fantastic.
But do you consider those zombie movies?
I was
though?
about to say, I don't know if they're technically zombie movies because
Yeah.
it's kind of like a demon
Those are possession movies.
possession movies.
Those are like horror comedies. Yeah, those are great. Those are
They're great.
fantastic.
All right. Any of the Resident Evils?
Yeah, I've seen the first couple Resident Evils. Those ones, I just don't find them to be
They're like
well made.
they're zombie action movies,
Yeah,
which
Yeah,
are
but I
like
just-
good in their own right, but you can't exceed like 2 or 3.
yeah. I mean, they're cool like throw on movies, but I don't like. I haven't seen them in years, and I wouldn't want to like. If I'm putting on a movie that I really want to watch, that's not gonna be one of them.
Okay, and then Train to Busan. Have you seen that?
I have never seen that.
Oh shit, dude.
Yeah, I've heard really
Yeah.
bad things about that movie
No, it's
from a trusted source.
I don't know what they said. They were really good, and they're so good that they made like a few spin-offs from it.
Okay, well, I have one for you.
Okay.
World War Z.
I was about to finish with World War Z.
Yeah, World War Z. See, look at that. We're syncing up, dude. We're coming
syncing
together.
up. Huge fan of World War Z. One thing ruined it for me, and I don't remember, or I don't know if you remember when this first came out. I think it was Jimmy Fallon had Pee Wee Herman on, and they did a. Do you remember this?
I don't, but I want to see it so bad.
Dude, they did a voiceover where Pee Wee Herman did the voiceover for the entire trailer, and it was the funniest thing ever. Please, if you have a chance, insert a little clip of that into this video.
I'm scared. How did we know they're coming?
They're coming.
Ready? Jerry!
So Night of the Creeps, I'm looking forward to this one. This is a sleeper for me. This was a movie that I would always see kind of on the digital movie marketplace and go like, that looks interesting. The cover is great. It's like the people in front of the house.
Yeah.
It's got Russ in it from European Vacation, which I mentioned before, and I love me some National Lampoon's Vacation series. So I'm looking forward to this one. I'm hoping that this one is more in the vein of the Return of the Living Dead, kind of that 80s zombie. So I hope to like it, and I hope that it's good fun. I think it will be.
This just based off of the trailer, I've never seen it. This is not one that I really heard of. Like you said, I've seen it on like Tubi maybe, or like Amazon Prime Video is trying to throw movies from the 80s that you've never seen. This looks like Porky's meets zombies, which I know one of the actresses is actually in Porky's, so maybe that's why I'm seeing this. But it's like fraternity high school kids looking to get wet.
Yeah.
And but the zombies are going to stop it, dude.
Well, I hope the zombies are the ones that are looking to get wet. I hope
the zombies are the ones that get wet, dude.
Anyway, Night of the Creeps.
Night of the
We're
Creeps, dude.
we're gonna watch it. We'll come back later this week. So anyway, we're gonna pass it off to future Vince and Eli, and I'm gonna let Vince do the honors, but I'm gonna count it down in 3, 2, 1. Vince?
Night of the Creeps, baby.
Night of the Creeps. Night of the Creeps. We finally saw Night of the Creeps. Hey, dude.
Well, I saw it. I don't know if you did.
Dude, I saw it. I watched it last night. Coming in fresh. I know how I feel about this movie. I freaking loved this movie, dude. It was so good. It was so fun. It was so entertaining. This is how zombie movies should be. No, I'm not gonna go that far, but it was really well done. What'd you think?
Well, first off, I like that you are finally a fan of a zombie movie. We kind of
we went through a lot.
We went through a lot. We went through the list of zombie movies that I love. I don't remember how many you said you actually enjoyed.
The one that you mentioned, I've seen them all, and I really enjoyed them all. Those are kind of like the biggies, though.
Yeah, the kind of.
I like, to me, I never watched Walking Dead. I tried to get through it and never really enjoyed it. There's been some other stuff that's come out that I just like. They've tried to do like teen rom-com movies about a girl that's like dating a zombie. like they try to do stuff like zombies come in and out of fashion, dude. That's what it really feels like. We're in the era of like the Possession movie, but like I'm hoping that the next round is slashers. I want good slashers to come back. I think that Damien Leone's really tried and kind of been successful with the Terrifier movies.
Yeah, I would say that. And before that, there really hasn't been anything other than like the reboots of the classics, like Jason and stuff.
Yeah, not a lot. There's not
That's
really
true.
been new horror icons or slasher icons introduced. But we're here to talk about zombies, and we're here to talk about Night of the Creeps. Dude, I love the 80s-ness of this movie, and I loved the characters of this movie. I thought it was really well done. Better than I expected. I thought this was going to be real B movie, and it had that style, but there was some real emotional flair and character turns to this movie that I didn't see coming.
Yeah, I feel like they played into the B movie aspects of this. And I feel like if you don't do that and you're just a B movie that's trying to be serious, it's not going to work. And they didn't do that. And they completely like leaned into what this movie was going to be. I love the opening that was like a 1950s B movie.
Yes.
And like they really played into like the cheesiness of the 50s. And I'm excited to see what you thought, dude.
I thought like the opening shot of this movie is these like weird looking prosthetic animatronic aliens that were sending these slugs off to Earth. And it was like very much parroting the opening of Star Wars, which I thought was hilarious. But I was watching that opening scene and I was like, oh, this is going to be Vince's movie. And then I got a text from you later that night. It was like, I already love this movie. And I'm pretty sure you were on that scene.
It was pretty much after seeing that scene. And I think the whole concept is that these aliens were like, I think they said like, oh, we got to get rid of this experiment. So I think that they had this experiment that they realized it was something they couldn't control. And it started to destroy them. So they just shot it out into space, which I thought was awesome. Also, the really shitty animatronic aliens were amazing.
No, they were great, and that's what I want, dude. That's what I love. I love that kind of stuff when it's done well. This movie was also really hilariously funny. I found myself laughing out loud, LOLing in real life throughout the entire movie, and that's kind of rare for any movie, but especially a movie of this time. And then it had the balls in the end, in like the third act, to have like an emotional beat, and it stars Jason Lively, who's also, I talked about it in the beginning, was Russ in European Vacation, but he plays Chris. He's great. He holds the movie together. It's really his journey through like this coming of age, new to college, loves a girl, likes a girl, wants to join a sorority. They put him up to stealing a dead body and leaving it on the steps in front of the fraternity house of their rival fraternity. They wake up this cryogenic zombie, freak out, leave. And the movie is straightforward from there. It's a very simple plot. This zombie that was frozen since the 50s, which I was surprised because to me the 50s seemed like so long ago, and obviously they really are far from the 2025. But somebody made a reference that it was 27 years before this movie, which took place in, what year would this movie come out? This movie came out, I believe, in 86, and I was like, whoa, that's like not very long. That's further out from we are from 1986.
Which always blows my mind when I hear people talk about how far the 50s were from the 80s. Because just like cultural wise, everything was so different that you would imagine that it was like 100 years. And it was 20. Yeah, it was 20 to 30 years.
It was not that different. And, obviously the 80s, there's a lot of 50s things in media because I think people were nostalgic for that time. And then the newer generations were like, didn't live the 50s. So they look at all this stuff from the 50s and are like, what's this weird shiny object? Which is kind of like the 90s for us now. But so the story, is not complex. It's these slugs inhabit people, they eat your brain, and then they spit out much like Alien and reproduce, and then you use bodies to incubate. But the thing that I loved the most was the relationship between Chris, who's the lead character, and his friend, who had like, I don't know, like some kind of disorder that made him walk with crutches. And he's kind of the comedic beat throughout the whole movie, very much like a Ducky or Anthony Michael Hall. This movie had tones of John Hughes movies in it that I really loved because it had the balls to be wacky and over the top and, cheesy in a lot of in the whole movie, but then like also had the balls to have this emotional turn at the end because RJ, that character, his friend, ends
CJ
up
or
getting
JC.
It's JC.
JC.
Sorry, I keep saying RJ. JC ends up dying, and he sends him this message, and it shows him recording, like he has a handheld recorder, and you don't know what it is until it pays off in the end. And Chris is listening to it, and the crazy thing was the reason it was such an emotional beat. You notice how his voice changed?
Yeah, because throughout the entire movie, he's the sidekick friend that's always making jokes.
Right.
There is that part where they're kind of arguing, and JC like tells him like I make these jokes because you're such a serious sappy fool, and I need to break it up, and I need you to have fun. And like their relationship was amazing. JC was my favorite character. The fact that they killed him off, spoilers, was
ballsy.
Was ballsy, and it was also like pretty, like it happened pretty quick into the movie. I felt.
Well, I feel like, yeah, I mean, it didn't happen very quick into the movie, dude. I looked up and I was like, into this movie. My one complaint, honestly, my only complaint, maybe, this movie could have been longer. You could have gone to a full 2 hours in this movie. Maybe some of this would have fallen apart. Maybe the simplicity of the story would have fallen apart if you tried to add too much. And I don't think that they should have. But I think you could have spent a little bit more time with these characters because they were so likable. You love JC from the opening frame of this movie, pretty much. Maybe not the opening because it's the flashback. But like you really love these characters and their camaraderie. They're great. The chemistry between these two actors is fantastic. So when that emotional beat happens, I didn't see it coming. And I was really surprised to have that feeling in this specific movie. But the zombie animatronics, they got me. The zombie animatronics were great. The zombie effects were great. They're just cheesy enough, just scary enough. A couple good jump scares in there. You know, when the girl's in her sorority and she's looking out the window and the cryogenic zombie pops through. That got me. Didn't necessarily see that coming. The animal animatronics I thought were really cool too. The zombie animals, because these slugs don't only inhabit humans, they also take over the bodies of animals. And so I love that. And I want to shout out Fred Dekker, who's the writer director of this movie. He also did Monster Squad, which is a big movie. I don't love Monster Squad, and when I read before watching this movie that he did it, I was like, oh, because I feel like Monster Squad should be a cooler movie than it actually is. And I don't know. So
I'm sad that you've seen that because I haven't seen it, and I was gonna ask to add that to a future list.
You know, we'll rewatch that one. It's been a long time since I've watched that movie, and now I want to see it again after watching this one, because maybe there's just stuff that I missed. Maybe tonally, I was expecting something different, and so I don't know. But yeah, love this movie. Second favorite character, probably the second lead of this is Ray Cameron, who is the grizzled detective who, in the beginning, the flashback to the 50s, is the cop that killed this axe-wielding maniac, which is, there's like a through line of that too, kind of simultaneously as these slugs are kind of infecting people back in this 50s flashback. There's stuff going out on the radio that there's a murderous guy that escaped a psychiatric ward and is killing people. Well, Ray Cameron, played by Tom Atkins, where do you know Tom Atkins from?
The Fog.
Yeah. And
I know he's been in other things, but I remember The Fog. What
Halloween
else?
3, Season of the Witch.
So, John Carpenter movies.
This dude's like horror royalty. You go look at his IMDb of all the horror and like sci-fi movies he's been in. He's been in a lot, but he also has an emotional through line in this movie that's pretty incredible. And he basically talks about this axe-wielding murderer kills this woman, and that he's the cop that arrives, and it so badly scarred him that he ended up hunting. You find out later, he goes full retribution and hunts down this guy and kills him, and like cuts him up, and then like buries his body under what is behind the sorority house. And so when the slugs come out, this guy that he killed has been buried, comes back. His name is Ray Cameron. Get to that later. Ray Cameron, his relationship with Chris is awesome too, and they have this back and forth. But Ray Cameron Tom Atkins has all of these one-liners in this movie that are so fantastic. I have a list of quotes, and it's when all these like zombies, they're being infected, they're coming to the sorority house. He goes, "Well, girls, I got good news and bad news. Good news is your dates are here. And then one of the girls go, well, what's the bad news? He goes, bad news is they're all dead. Which, and his delivery on it, I didn't do it justice, but his delivery on it
was way better in the movie.
is so, yeah, I mean, I really botched it. I'm not Tom Atkins, dude. There's only one
true.
Tom Atkins. Are you looking up his IMDb right now?
I looked it up. I was looking at the quotes from the movie. One of the notes that I have is from him, and it made no sense, but the way that he delivered it was funny. There was a part where he was yelling at one of the girls to duck, and then he yelled, "It's Miller time."
Yeah. Well,
I
think that was like, you know, the parlance, like the saying, the quote of the day. It's kind of like what's the one where it's like, what's up, the Budweiser commercial or whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, where it's like, you know, the slogan for Miller is still it's Miller time. But I think that's what that was. Okay, are we on the quote section of the top five?
One quote, not from him, it was for Detective Cameron. One of his quotes that I thought was funny was, "What is this, a homicide or a bad B movie?"
Yeah, I noted that too.
That was good.
Because that's just them referencing themselves, and you know, that's them winking at the camera, which is great. In the beginning shot, the girl is in the car. Her boyfriend Johnny goes out to the woods to look at, you know, he hears a sound or something, and he goes out to the woods, and she's trying to get him to come back to the car, and she goes, "Johnny, can we go back to the point now?" The point is where they're making out at the beginning of this movie, and she goes, "Johnny, can we go back to the point now? I'll even let you fondle my breasts." That was hilariously funny.
There's a lot of references to Bozo the Clown. I feel like he referenced it like 3 times in one scene.
Yeah. Tom Atkins also has this great where he calls Chris Spanky, and he calls JC Alfalfa from the Little Rascals.
Yeah.
And there's a great callback where he shows up at the door after JC's dead, and Tom Atkins is like trying to figure out what's going on, and Chris says Alfalfa's dead. And it's just this like great little like thing in the script to call back, but it tells you exactly like the emotional beat, and exactly he understands that you don't have to go into this long scene, this long sequence, and you know, woe is me. Lines like that is just stuff that I one of the things I really loved about this movie, and just how funny it was. One of the other lines is the last line that I have is they get on this bus. All these fraternity guys get on the bus to go to like this dance. Is it a dance or is it like a mixer?
I think it's a
the
mixer.
sorority girl.
It felt weird because they were like dressed for prom, which also all the tuxedos and stuff that they were wearing were totally 80s, and they had like the garter belt things, and they were all wearing them, and they're all different colored, and it was cool. I liked it.
Yeah, so they get on the bus, and the one guy goes, "Let's blow this pop stand. We're gonna get done, dudes." And like just the way he said it was
and
so
then the
funny.
bus blew up, didn't it?
Yeah, the bus blew up, and the bus driver's yelling at him because they're popping beers in the back and shooting him and stuff. Oh, did you notice in the beginning, one of the coolest things was in the beginning sequence, not the beginning of the movie, but the beginning when we first see Chris and JC, and they're going to the sorority party or the fraternity party. There's like a beer tree in a bathtub that just looked awesome. Like I was sitting there going like, man, if you went to like a Christmas party or a party and they had a beer tree, that would be so cool. But
I didn't catch that. I have so I was sad that this movie was behind a paywall. I had to pay money to rent it because I didn't own it. I do want to own it now. But I have it for another 24 hours, and I might throw it on again just to just pay attention to some of the background stuff. You mentioned something about like horror icons. Was it mainly Tom Atkins and
no,
else?
dude? So there's 4 characters that I count. Well, actually, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 characters I counted that were named after horror directors. Some of them were obvious. One of them might be a leap, but there was David Cronenberg, Sam Raimi, Tobe Hooper, James Cameron, and John Landis. So Tom Atkins' character's name is Ray Cameron. I watched the movie, dude. I actually gave it my undivided attention. But Tom Atkins' character's name is Ray Cameron, and if you look on IMDb or the credits, it's not spelled the same way as James Cameron. But I don't know. At this point, like James Cameron would have already done Terminator, and so I feel like maybe not in the horror. I think '86 is the same year the Aliens came out. No, or did it come out before
Aliens?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know the definitive date, but I'm pretty sure it was around then.
So anyway, Wally Taylor played Detective Landis. Bruce Solomon played Sergeant Raimi. the lead girl's last name was Cronenberg. I think it was Cynthia Cronenberg.
Okay.
And then there was somebody else named had the last name of Hooper. I can't imagine, like, if you put the other horror kind of legends and sci-fi legend director names in there, that Toby Hooper wasn't one of them.
That's true.
You know, just for Funhouse alone, I'm not even counting, you know, Poltergeist and Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I haven't seen Funhouse.
We watched it. We watched it a few years ago, back in when we were both in California, and I think at the time we were like disappointed. But I bet if we popped that one on now, it probably would be good. And
yeah,
you know, we'd enjoy it to a certain degree. But I thought that was great. Dude, Dick Miller spotting. Dick Miller has been in like classic B movies. He was in the lead character in, or not the lead character. He was the guy that eats the flower in the original. What's the name? Little Shop of Horrors that we watched.
The 1950s one?
Yeah, he's the guy that's eating the flower the whole time. Thing. He's in a ton of stuff, and he pops up, but he's the cop that Tom Atkins pulls the gun on to get the flamethrower. And if you're watching this and haven't seen this movie and you're like, whoa, that sounds cool, it is. Go watch this movie. It's freaking awesome, dude. And one more thing that I thought was cool, there was a Vertigo reference. I don't know if you noticed it, but at 1 hour, 15 minutes, and 59 seconds, there's a scene where the girl turns. It's when I think Chris is trying to get her to use the flamethrower on the zombies, and they do the Vertigo shot, the reverse zoom, or the zoom dolly, I think it's called technically. But we just watched Vertigo, we loved it, and that shot was featured prominently. And so there was a reference to Vertigo in there that I noticed and I thought was really cool. Like this
whole
movie,
scene was super funny, where they're going to check out weapons, and he's like, "Oh, I'd like to check out a flamethrower," and the guy just had it off to the side.
Yeah, and he's like, once you light the pilot, it's gonna go. There's so much in this movie. I point out all this stuff down to the Easter eggs and stuff because this is kind of a movie ahead of its time in that way, and there's just so much in it to love. I cannot believe that this movie does not get referenced or talked about more. It really surprises me. And it just seems like, I know it's a cult classic, but it really deserves to be like regarded more highly. I don't know. I loved it, dude.
Yeah, I loved it too. You definitely like had some good notes for this one. I just sat back and watched it, and then like halfway through I realized that I wasn't taking any notes. But I think it's because after the first scene with the aliens, I was completely drawn in, and I didn't think about anything other than just watching the movie.
One more thing before we kind of move on. I also, one other thing I loved was towards the beginning when the cryo zombie gets out and the body is on the doorstep of the sorority and Tom Atkins goes to see the crime scene. He's walking up and he stops in front of the sorority house and he smells a rose. Did you notice that?
Mm-mm.
He makes a point of stopping and smelling a rose. And I was like, oh, he's stopping and smelling the roses. That's cool. But it came back at the end in a way that, like, I thought was really good and tied it all together. It just gave you a lot about this character. It was also the scene where the guy's on the step in front of the body eating that, like, cold cut sandwich.
That cop was eating every single moment of the movie.
Yeah, which I thought that was really funny. But little things like that, I just think they took the time to do. And I don't know, that for me is the kind of stuff that makes her a great movie. And, you know, I'm going to give this rewatchability 5 out of 5, dude. And I'm not sure, maybe Close Encounters of the Third Kind up until this point is the only other one. Vertigo for sure. But I would give this one a 5 out of 5. This is definitely one that I'm going to pick up. Scream Factory has a 4K that I absolutely am bummed that I did not buy, but now I want to pick it up. I love this movie. I'll watch it again. 5 out of 5 rewatchability for me.
Yeah, I would say 5 out of 5 for me, but it's not the same 5 out of 5 with the other movie, because this one is more of a fun watch. This one is one that I'm definitely adding to my Halloween. Like, I save all my favorite Halloween movies for October, and I think this one's going to be added. It's going to be this, Return of the Living Dead, Return of the Living Dead 2, and then, of course, like Halloween and Nightmare and all that stuff. But you need to throw in some of the funny movies, and this one's going to fill that slot, dude.
They should remake this movie, dude. Like, we're in this era of just remaking everything. This movie is prime, dude.
Yeah, remake, but stick to the key factors of it being funny, of it being cheesy, but playing into the cheesiness. Play into the, like, emotional character development. That's where I'd be nervous about remaking it because I feel like they wouldn't be able to hit those points. What would you change to make this movie better? You were saying that you would make some changes.
All right, here's an idea for you. Remake this movie, but instead of the Tom Atkins character, cast that as Pauly Shore. Make this the Pauly Shore vehicle. Make this the Pauly Shore comeback vehicle, dude, where he's just like, hey, buddy, you know, like, I'm going to shoot some zombies. And then, like, the kids are like, this guy is, like, make the kids smarter than the Tom Atkins character, you know? Like, have him be like, why is this guy a cop? And then just, like, you could include actors of the era, the 80s, like throw Corey Feldman in there, dude. Corey Feldman is the scientist. And just, you know, like, have fun with it. Like, that's the way you have fun with it, but you also still kind of keep the integrity. But throw Pauly Shore in there, dude. Can you imagine Pauly Shore as, like, the general who leads the charge against these aliens? He's like, hey, aliens.
Pauly Shore is really good, by the way.
Thank you, buddy. That's all I got. I can't go beyond that. Like, if you had me do, like,
either can he, though,
the Gettysburg Address as, like, the Weasel, I couldn't do it, you know. But I appreciate it. Maybe that's who I'll be for Halloween, and just bug the hell out of my wife, dude.
You just keep saying,
baby, hey, buddy, I'm the Weasel. All right, man.
Have you ever seen Son-in-Law?
Not in a long time,
dude. I forced my girlfriend and her mom to watch it for Thanksgiving because it is a Thanksgiving movie, and they were not excited, dude. Even, like, after watching it, they're like, okay, that was fun.
Maybe that's why your girlfriend's mom doesn't come around anymore, dude.
I think that's why she doesn't want to hang out for Thanksgiving.
Dude, on the other side, she's telling all of her friends, she's like, my daughter's boyfriend, I'm not going over there anymore. He forces Pauly Shore on me.
What broke her was I made her watch Tusk. I was like, you need to see Tusk. It's the most amazing horror film. And I think she came to work, like, because we worked together. She came to work the next week and was just like, I can't believe you made me watch that movie. That was the worst movie I've ever seen.
So, Gladys, I'm just afraid if I go over there again, he's going to make me watch Jury Duty. I can't take it. All right? I'm one Encino Man away from just disowning them altogether.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy. All right, that's all we got. That's all I got. If you have anything else on Night of the Creeps, if you haven't seen this movie, go watch it. Let us know what you think in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't. I haven't said this enough. If you would rather listen to this in audio podcast form, obviously we put visualizations and things to be seen in the video. But if you want to watch it on audio podcast, we're on all the podcast platforms. You know, subscribe on there. Let us know. Let Spotify and Apple Podcasts know we're there. But we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. Creep.
Buddy.
Confessions of a Film Poser.